That is where Amir Ali rammed them in Daniel 8:3, beside or underneath or at the footstep of the Ulai Cascada, or the high up waterfall from Messianic Rochrak mouse face of Daniel 8:3 or 1894:5, or the Satan Ratman, the Ratdam, is walled and restored, and is medad measuring and ink stretching around Qafir or Qafir or Kippur or Kafar or Jafar or Jafr, or the Kafaring Kavara, or the forgiving and birmestoning, sigilling or sigilling, firewall, or the Bernahim borderline, or the Kabbalah, Kabul Christ, accept the Christ, Paul, or the Qutb, or that is superstarring because of the Allah inside him, of heavenly home, or the Messianic Medina of جاء من أقصى المدينة رجلا يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون هدا هدوسيون, headed ones and the guided ones, like Imam Mahdi and Imam Khidra, or Sultan Christ and Moses, the three prophets who visited the end time Babel pit of Surah 36, or 2 times 18 verse 20. That's where the Ramdam coming and then measuring, or the measurer of the Zechariah 2, or Holy Quran 1882, or Mahish Asurahi Masjid al-Aqsa, or the mosque, church, or as we will read later on here in 1882, or the Knesset, the solar synagogue, the heavenly synagogue, not the garbage third temple that this Talmud writing Shaolin monks in closing of the Pharisees are talking about it. The real one, the one that is the reward for the ones that have had the blessing of attacking to the gay Israel. And so that's where it is walling and it is restored, just like any kind of concrete dam, or it needs water to be fixated, and that water is coming from Ulai. And then that's how I have been at the borderline between these two. That's where the borderline of Isaiah 19:19 in 2019 is coming to tell to the world that the death season is here, not only for destruction. God is not a psychopath to create and transform and to destruct, but God is going to destruct and destroy us because of resurrection and saving a little bit of the healthy and crops that have left or remained with sanity and are not damaged or sodomized or psychedelized or PhDs in the quantum physics or all sort of garbage stuff. For those from his outside hellhole that is full of graduates of the astray academia of Buddha Abudan. This Isa Messiahi Medina is in Nataf dimension, Nataf, Nutfe, the droplet dimension, of underworld Galilee garden, or the scum garden, or the scum soundscape, or the cloud canvas upon which God is doing his masterpiece of the painting, and his paintbrush is the Christ, and his ink, or his Karim Korum charming cholera, the magical cholera, is the Holy Spirit, and Allah is the only one painter. Of underworld Galilee garden, and has nothing to do with Mozghe mask mansion of surface earth, in which city of Medina and Saskatoon city Qariya of Haras or Crash, or Haras in English, Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, or Dekka, or Dakka, or Dag, or digging, or taking down, flattening down of me, termination of me, or destruction of this Ramdam, are situated geographically. In the selection from Hani Hadith of Revelation in one page. Again, we will gradually go deeper into this hadith, but basically the entire book of Revelation, if you want to read it in one page, this is the Muhammadahi hadith that you can do it. But again, it is about 400 pages of a witness is needed to kind of translate this hadith for something that is understandable for average consciousness level of the sheep. The Sunan ibn Majah, volume 1, book 36, hadith 4075, that is coupled with Hani hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith 170, 1796, 1882. Read about me, or the Medadi, Ramdam, or the Yal, and the Barack Obama, Dajjal, or the gay god of the Magog, that again, those two second hadiths are kind of coupled with the hadith in book of Revelation in one page, but those two hadiths are coming from a different reference. Here you need to click on the English in order to read the English. But again, the entrance of the Medina that is mentioned, and this Dajjal, has nothing to do with the Saudi Arabia that is owned by Antichrist. All of that funky family of royal family over there, they are nothing but a bunch of puppets of the Antichrist. And so we read in this reference, or in this hadith, about me and Ad-Dajjal, or the Barack Babun Obama, that will come out of Isra Marathol, that you can also find it in this reference. It's similar to that, but from another website, that Ad-Dajjal will come out of its Ramaratul of Revelation 9:1 once I eat the key, or Khalid, or the Khalid, or the Khalis, that has locked the final upgrade that the sodomite swastika needs to receive its ultimate upgrade. and it will be forbidden for him to pass through the Isahi entrances of Messianic Medina. And so that Medina is from Surah Kahf or Cave, and also from Surah Yasin, Yasna Izad Yazdan Rahman. And so this is the Medina of New Jerusalem, or the Jerusalem, or the Urushalim, or Yarusalami, or the Salam, that is, or Fire Salam. That is not what we know on old earth as two materialistic cities of Medina and Jerusalem. And so again, this the reason that it is forbidden because this thoughtful scum of Hindu hellions and all sort of sick and salty sperms and smokes and spirits and vainly vibrating strings of the string theory that are waiting like vampires to be released from their Sahasrara sewerage into the plane of into the mammary plane. For him it is forbidden because the sword at the Eden or the Chinook Peretomi bridge beacon is just right there to terminate this condensed sack of darkness, or the demonic, devilish concentrated crap of ultimate falsehood and lie and hate, whatever you wanna name it, it is in there. And so he, the Hari Hanuman, or the Goggy goat, will land in some of the salty barren sand dunes, or the Shinari 7, Shina or Shani Enari, or the disgusting Sonari, or the sensational sand dunes of scarlet sensations, or the with 7 Baha'i Babs and the mountains, plus the 8th one of the Anahanumani mountain that he actually is carrying, and so or we call it the 790 nodes, or the islands of the Red Sea, that are interiorized for the inmates of the jailbreak to do their mumbo jumbo thing there, or the 7 Harmajedun, Majadu, Jadu, Jadi, Jadui, Jabal Mounts, or the Chakra visible islands, Ghari and Zawheratan of Q3418. And so these are where the snakes are, or the snakes, or the deep water divers, and the whales, and then the sperms of the deep Galilee Gardeny garbage can is a barren back coat of the muddy midbar, or adbar, mudberin, dobaring, wilderness, or wine press woman, or the emra'at, or the backyard, the Galilee garden, Jordan Sea, of Numbers 13:29, outside of Medina, or Edeni Salam city of Allah, or where the Christ Kaaba cube Kibotos of Revelation 11:19 is, or the Ark of the Noah. And these 7 mounts are actually where the funky son of Noah was flooded and drowned while he was going into one of these mounts for hibernation and into lower than 2 hertz frequency, brain frequency, to the peaks of that range. And then he was washed. And so or also we call it as the mother book, Muki, mother of the cities, or the third temple of Ezekiel chapter 40 to 47, or the ancient eastern footstep of Allah, Qadam as-Sidqan, or Qadim. Qadam and Qadim means Qadam. Qadim means ancient. But it is mostly is translated as the footstep or the ancient or the old of Allah. On that day in 2019, the best man known, of course not the best, but just one of the ones that are trying to catch the dust of the average sheep of the end time event, as Habib the carpenter of Surah 36, the last carpenterer or the last measurer at the borderline of the temple with a golden Zerubbabeli rod branch, or the Medadi measurer, or the harbinger of the Isahi hour, my father, the hour, or the camel bomb, or one little baby of the many master masons, or the carpenters, or the best men, the khairun nas, the masters, the apostles of Christ, or the best Muslim masters, the again not the best, one of the that is trying to become one of the best ones, will go out or will fall out. We call it of Zechariah 2:2. Also we have it in وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين. And so that ja'a, or will go out, that is what is mentioned in Revelation 9 as falling down, or as being shooted or tossed out of heaven, or being tossed out in Surah 95. Say, and then it says ثم رددناه أسفل السافلين. ثم رددناه, that means the radadna, and so I am the radadna to where? Here. It is Sodom and Egypt reality realm. And what the hell is here, or what the hell is this, or when the hell is this? And this is called أسفل السافلين. ثم رددناه أسفل السافلين. And this is being governed by the vampires of the underground city of Devaraka, or we call it the Ajib, or Egyptos city, or the city of the wonders. And what the hell are the wonders? The wonders are the, what we call them, scientific breakthroughs in this hellhole, in this dimension. And so that is, or also we have it in 1 Kings 6 and 5 as a Shalak, or Shalik, or Shalak in Hebrew or Persian, that means was shooted or tossed out. That's what Solomon sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done to Hiram. And so I and Hiram, we were tossed outside And while the Salamana was inside the Christ Karimi scrying bulb, and in that scrying bulb is what we call it as the Medina, or the home of these amazing Christian ships that Antichrist is easily killing or silencing or ridiculing as low IQ people, or as or the basically as the victims that can easily be killed here. That's what the vampires are, how they play with them. Just look at what the hell they are doing in China, or to the Muslims, how they burn the prayer mats and sajjadas, and how they are treating the people of Mahisha, Syria, in Burma, Rohingya, or other places. And then you will see that where is that Medina, or the scrying bulb. And so Hiram also was shellacked or was sent out. In the First Kings chapter, I think 5, 6, and 7 talks about that how he is working at the outside, and how Solomon, his civil engineer, is inside, while Hiram is administering the labor team of the gene whales and divers and foam carriers, or the scum carriers, or the soil carriers that bring the soils, dump them in front of the at the Magomi, in the front of the heavenly home and the Medina, and then from there anything that is necessary will be blessed, and then it is imported into heavenly home for interior designing for the lovely bride that is under the phosphorus bombs and nukes or ridicules and mockeries, sting the tongues out of the orangutan Einsteins and the heliocentrists and relativists of the little horn that is changing the times and seasons by talking about the garbage idea of length contraction and time contraction, and all of those rubbish ideas of the Helions with PhD degrees in many different epistemologies. And so one of the master pomegranates and the martyrs of the Christ Karimi Tarak will go out, or will be shoot out, or the shellacked, or the shell-leaked, or some maradadnahu asfal as-safilin. All of this is the surface of the asfal as-safilin, and then underneath it is the ashab al-akhdud, or the people of the trench, or the talmai ants that go to the that's where I'm going soon, where Obama is going to toss me there. And so we'll go out after who? The little horn, the unicorn horn of the people the people of the Waraka. Oh, and so the little baby Basiji will go out, or the Zechariah 2:2. Or Revelation 9 fall out after little horn, this gay swastika scumbag, while he is holding what? While he is holding Hosanna, or Hoshen, or Cheshen, or Chesen, Chesen, or Husna, Asma ul Husna, he Habla, the rope, the measuring rope, واعتصموا بحبل الله of 303 or 112. That's the measuring rope, the rope of redemption that is given to me. Also we have it in Zechariah of Allah in his hand. And then Medad will run and and go out to Barack Hussein Obama, him himself, and say, I testify or I witness فَيَقُولُ أَشْهَدُ أَنَّكَ that filthy Dajjal, in this witness that you are the same Devish, Zeus, Diavusi, Davisi, Dayusi, Pita, Diavus Pitai, Dajjal, dildo of the Satan vagina, or the Baal husband of the Satan, or the Buddha Abudan Kant cult of Achiman, the Ishtar, and Nakadat Dajjal, whose description was given to us by Muhammadahi, messenger of Allah. And at Dajjal dadi چی دو of raw toxic dadi چی دو, or the scarlet Aruna, Arjuna, Argavana, Urayani, sex beast of the red pill of the Morpheus, the LSD, of the Yugi Helions, we say to the people of the Shama'el, or to the people of Ashab al-Shamal or the Soma'el, if I kill this man and bring him back to life again, that's again, these retards are worshipping this sack of scum as being God, eh? And so as we read in Daniel 8:7, will you doubt my Christian claim of my Christian claim? And what the hell is his claim? That he can bring back to life and take life. And we will read about that in Surah 2:258, especially this one, and also 20:88. But we will look at that as where the hell the heliocentrism is coming. What's the historical background of the heliocentrism? About being Nimrodi Buddha beast, or sounding Nazi Eagle Ejel of 2088 of American dollar. So if I bring this Amir Rumi Medad measurer back, kill him and then bring him back, will you that? And then they will say no. Then Dajjal will kill me, that man, and that is what we have in Revelation 11:7. Once I finish this witness, then I'm gonna have a little bit of play with this grind meat, or Daniel 8:7, and then the barren Buddhist baboons of Baha'i Tower, vampires and homosexual habitants of Hari hellhole will rejoice over them, or us, or me and my Ali Akhiyahi brother, the two-horned ram, that have recited the Al-Fatiha, or the opening surah of love light in the middle of the wicked vampires of vanity and darkness and dryness, and celebrate, and will send namaste gifts to one another for the coming puffing of the Gog&Magog. Again, we will even read about my name in the retard scriptures too. For these two Eldad Medadi prophets had tormented those dwelling on the earth with what? With soul-shaking signs and the plagues by Moses and Solomon's staff. Again, like seeing the although they are trying to get the ordinary humans that have not received the mark of the beast or the fitna of Masih ad-Dajjal or the LSD that can get them to see behind the veil type of thing, although they have tried to get everybody to buy their global warming, however, they know that these signs and the plagues are related to the Moses and Solomon Estafa. And so the torment here, part of it is of this torment, again, these plagues or the falages in Arabic or the Persian, the falaj or the plagues, the crippling diseases are have been I have asked for them for this record-breaking global-wise. Alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah, has sent plenty of them. The Zulqarnain, Sayyid al-Arz, or the Sayyid of Arz, Sayyid of Arz, the real Siddhartha, not the Sodomite scumbag, has sent had the izn or the ijazat or izn to ask from Book of Life to basically allows and permits and legalizes and these plagues to be struck at the deep waters that we see their impact at the surfaces as what we have already covered. The wildfires, the mass die-offs of the fishes, the gene attacks, the fireballs, the anomalies, the spiritual anomalies that are all being covered under the funky show of this pathetic the horn of this Barack Baboon Obama and his show of shaking hand with the North Korean dictator. And again, they are both working for the same system, although they have a little bit of capitalism versus communism garbage to put into the brains of the people, but behind all of this, they are both happy with the power and the wealth and the luxury and the opportunity that the gay God has given them for ruling over the animals of the animal farm. And so these plagues, this torment in other way is bothering the night vision, the bats of the Buddha Abudan that are using the night vision goggles, because they are basically conveying the message of light and love light, that love light is doing something to their reality that is gonna bother their deep meditation, masturbation, or silence. And these anomalies that have been preparing for the great war, as they call it, and they show it in their Lord of the Rings funky movie about the attack to my father and to Imam Mahdi, his master. However, again, this torment is a healthy torment, but they have been hateful again, because the people of the north are as we read in Ezekiel 8 verse 3, the Samael provokes to jealousy. And so that's why no matter how much God poke on the shoulder that, hey, you want to wake up, do you want to repent, for some people that actually bothers them because it is interrupting their sleep. And actually for some other, because we're hoping to see if we can get the people to wake up, but again, there are some people that are pretending that they're sleeping. You cannot wake them up, but some people that are sleeping, they might be among the lucky ones that can be awakened from the hypnotizing, poisoning, and the flute of the Pied Piper. And so had tormented those dwelling on the earth with soul-shaking signs and the plagues by Moses and Solomonian staff that I have eaten. And then for proving his or her Nimrodi claim that I am the God, that's the claim that he said to Abraham, hey? The Horesi hunter or the Nimrodi hunter, the falcon hunter, or the Dajjal. Dajjal will bring him back to low life, this if you can call it life, after 3 days by Revelation 11:11, or by the Sultani permission and Mumbuki Spirita of Allah. Then that man I will say, Wallahu ma kunta qatta shatta basiratan min al-yawm. And so I swear by Allah that I have never been as insightful and perceptive as I am today, that La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah, and you are that Barack Hussein Obama that Prophet Muhammad has talked about it.
Next hadith is about Dajjal. When he is outside the city of Medina, unable to enter, Dajjal will arrive. And it will be haram and forbidden for him to enter the streets of Medina.
And so the streets of Medina, again, has nothing to do with what we know it as the city of Medina in Saudi Arabia. That's another Medina. That's the temple that I am measuring for the people of heaven. And not only measuring it, but then as the Isaiah 19:23 says, I'm saying that Christ didn't die for you so that you remain desecrated and raped, a slave of the Pharaoh of the Egypt, of the Egyptian realm, of the funky miracles, and then the wonder workers and the scientists. Christ came and died for you so that you can know where is that Medina, or where is your home, and where is your neighborhood, so that you go there. And for that you have to carry your cross instead of being a good citizen and a good animal in the farm of the pigs. It is time for you to rebel, as the donkey of the Mark 11. I'm telling you that it is time for rebel, because when you are sleeping at night, they are changing the laws, and you even don't understand how you were supposed to read your scripture. I'm again using a little bit of coloring here or the medad or the johar, that's the meaning of the medad, or the ink, for you to see what's going on. And so if you want to carry your cross, leave the revenge for God. And so what you do is that you find the meat grinder of the tyrant, of the Nimrodi tyrant, and then you jump into it. And then once you go at the back of the Christ Karim, then you will shepherd this reality with the iron rod or rod of Christ that we will read about them. And so in order to do that, you have to give value and pay attention to what it means to say that Christ came and died for us. Christ didn't came and died for you and me so that we go to vacation. Meanwhile, that Antichrist is bombing the hell out of our neighbors, Muslim neighbors or Christian neighbors and their churches in Syria by funding bunch of maggoty Muslims that were actually those type of Muslims that were massacring under the Ottoman Empire thousands of the Christians in Europe. Okay, those are the Muslims that when they shouldn't attack, they would attack, and when they must attack to the Israel of the Harry Hellions, they are not attacking. They are attacking to the Muslim communities that are actually the resistant forces. They are lost, and so Christ came and died so that you can see where is the exit door. Christ came to this reality and died and went outside of the exit door and entered into the Eden, so that you know, oh, that's where the Eden is. Okay, and I'm trying to show you where the Medina is, not the garbage, not the Medina on the garbage materialistic maps of the surface earth, but the real Medina, the mercy land, the real Medina. And so that Medina is, if you follow the tariq or track or the highway of Isaiah 19:23, that's actually one of the names of Christ. The 86th holy chapter of Holy Quran or the Book of Life is named after that title of Christ, so that you can see that, okay, he didn't die in vain. he didn't came here and went outside of the exit door and said, everybody said, all right, goodbye, have fun. You came and died for us, but we're here, we're actually we're thanking and paying tax to the Antichrist and his shampoo making and microwave making scientists and technicians and bodhisattvas. But we love our ego. You have fun with your God. No, that doesn't mean that. That shows that there is a problem there. And so not only in the sheep, but also in the priests and the shepherds and the clergy and the middleman. And so in order to make it to make the most of the precious death of Christ, then it's time for you to not to boycott Israel, but to really support the oppressed and the people that are being butchered and massacred and washed with white phosphor bombs or with the chemical attacks, or being massacred under the pretext of economical benefit and advantage of the military-industrial complex of the Antichrist, and then rubbed under the carpet or under the political pretexts. However, behind all of these and behind even the behind or below the philosophical foundation of the modern physics and the modern politics and the modern economy, and usually based economy of Kabbalah, the god of wealth of the Gentile junks, or the clay corpses, that whatever you give them, they put a puja and worship that piece of filth. Behind all of those, that's the dark force with three shells, caliphats of the Ain and Ein Sof and Ein Sof hour, that are giving a spirit to the ill idea of Big Bang in a blank hole. And that is actually alarming. If you are not being alarmed, then that means that you are sedated and nullified or pacified. And again, the best that you can do is to find a bullet from that is fired from an Israeli gun or a bomb, and then catch it, and then follow your Christ King. The earth is actually the worst place to be, in the maelstrom whirlpool that we are in it. The worst thing that you can do is to stick to the sinking boat, jump out of it, or evacuate the earth, escape, deliver yourself, come out of it. Revelation 18:4, Micah 4:13. Book of Zechariah chapter 2 verse 6 and 7, on and on and on, or Holy Quran 86, Surah 86, or Isaiah 19:23. Inshallah, after coming back to life, you will see, and then we will read about it here, and then you can follow. I swear by, and so what I say after coming back, after pervert president of presidential pig of the animal farm brings me back, by the permission and the power that Allah has given, and the sultani permission of Christ the Kareem. I'm going to say that I swear by Allah that I have never been as insightful and perceptive as I am today. And so this testimony is also written in form of, we can go all the way to in 36 Surah, or the Surah of Heart of the Book of Life. And who is the Heart of Book of Life? The great name of God, or Yasin Yasna, Izad Yazdan Rahman, Allah Aluha, Ishq Hame Ma, or Allah of Allahuming ones, their Allah, Allah of the living ones. Good for them, the ones that followed the Christ and went outside of the exit door. Fortunately, we are still stuck here. Shame on me. And so read in Surah 36, 20 and 21. Yes, قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون headed Hodosiyun, or the guided Wanun, Mahdiyahun, the headed ones, or the guided ones that saw the Tariq superstar, or piercing superstar. Who is the superstar? Who is the piercing superstar? That is the Christ. The entire population of heaven that is bought from the earth by his blood are going out of hell into heaven by following the tariqat of Christ. And that tariqat is that when you see someone is raping your neighbor, you don't go to cinema, or you don't go to get another PhD degree that is completely based on contradictory with what he has taught you. Okay, you go and you defend your neighbor, and if necessary you die for your neighbor. By neighbor, I'm talking about the great march of returning Palestinian pearls that are being perished, and then these monsters are giving $50 billion deal and the money to bribe everybody. But again, the Palestinian cause is not something that can be bought. Again, the sum total of the entire Hindu population of earth is not as worthy as one Palestinian that is saying Allahu Akbar. Or in other words, if you want to replace worthy, they are not as loud as one word that is saying something that is the fruit of the creation. And that's where we see that we are not equal. The ones that are working based on egotistical patterns and worshipping a King Kong or a Nimrod because of fearing from this funky namastic jaguar or Namrud, Namard, are not equal to the ones that shout Allahu Akbar in front of the gun of its slaves, its soldiers, and have no fear of hatred. And so after watchmaning of Ezekiel 33 as the harbinger of the hour, or the shamanically view vasting and vast vasa'a isha'a vasa opening, or time trying and gazing, or Isaiah yasha yasa'a yasa'ing, or the running yasa'ing, and the running looking ahead for saving yasha'ing. I will run from my cubensis crow's nest. That's the crow's nest that I have been, and then a scriptural cave that for 3 to 4 years I've been there to write this shamanic healing package, or the navigation map for the consciousness, without using any yantra or any sound or any geometry, but by the words that don't require that are not rocket science to require degrees or anything, for everybody. And rock cave refuge, after rock cave refuge that I've been, toward my tribe in global village, including yogi soulmates. I have soulmates that I love, and they are the yogi wastes of the hellhole. And homosexual friends, I have homosexual soulmates that are wasted and damaged. And on the outside sand dunes, because again I am tossed or shellacked or shellicked just like the Hiram to the outside, to the sand dunes, and that's where I'm going to see the army camp of the Beelzebub and all of the flying cockroaches that he has prepared outside of the heaven, as well as end time camp of Israel, as well as the ones that are still stuck on the earth, and many of them inshallah will be martyred or raptured or will win the eternal entry to the heaven as the prophesizer or the Nabi of 1127. And what do I have to prophesize? I'm going to prophesize about my father, or Abba Saleh, or the coming of Imam Mahdi and Isa Masih, the Sultan Saleh. that his other name is Sa'at, or the hour, or the last hour of the last day of history. Or the prophesier, or the watchman of the Ezekiel 33. And what's the watchman? The watchman is the Safa. That is what we call in Arabic as Saufa, the one that goes where? On the crow's nest. And if he sees something that is happening, then in tribal shamanism, I am supposed to come, and that's my responsibility, regardless of the race, gender, skin, or even the religion, or because again, there are people that can be saved here. And actually the yogis and the homosexuals that I have soulmates in these two wasted categories of the Magog are like kindergarten innocent kids in front of some soulmates and friends that I have, like the Jezebel, that is both of them, and yet she's so aggressive, or one of the wicked witches of the Beelzebub, that has the audacity of bringing her cancer to the house of God. And so that's the ultimate level of the wickedness or the vanity. Again, many of the homosexuals, they're only homosexual. They keep whatever the business in the gay pride or at their house. But they don't bring that filth into the church of God and then rub it in, smear that excrement into the face of everyone, and get bunch of funky shishops and bishops and Nazi Neanderthals that are running the planet to support them, so that they can tyrannically come and then talk about their oppressed minority, although again they have all the nukes and all the B-2s and all the F-22 and F-35s and F-18s on the planet, as well as all the cruise missiles and aircraft carriers, and all of the UN and Chinese army and the Putin petty army are working, as well as the orangutan in the India, that is they're all working for these people. And so again, the yogis are actually have much higher chance of being survived and cured, or the homosexuals, than that race that actually I love. Again, I love the darkest type of the soul, and that is the one that is actually both the yogi and a homosexual, and that hypocritically is bringing, has been allowed to come, and that is the Jezebel of theater, or the Church of God that is attacked in such a sad way. And so on the outside sandals, as well as the end time camp of Israel, as the prophesier or the Nabi or the watchman or the South, that what is about to happen, or the Souther, or the runner, or the foreteller, or the harbinger of my Father, the hour of wrath of God. And so if I am tormenting you, you haven't seen the torment yet. Wait for that and watch for that. You're gonna see that the pagans are gonna be screaming from that level of the horror. This what we have had as that is labeled and covered from the people, or hijacked, the truth that is hijacked by falsehood, under the skirt of the falsehood, as we will look at it, under the title and the banner of global warming and environmentalism, all of those garbage things. The torments that we had so far, like the Hurricane Harvey or Maria, they are like nothing in front of the hour. Okay, the Noah's flood is like nothing in front of what is about to happen in less than 42 months from the time of my death, less than 3.5 years. And so no one knows the hour, not even the hour, because the hour is going to be released by direct real-time order of Allah. But again, it's good to give for someone to give so that you can have a comes and says heads up, give a heads up about the hour, telling them, oh my tribal people. That's another way of the tribal shamanism. In this tribal shamanism, if you love everybody, even the homosexuals and then the yogis, then you come and tell to them that, oh my people, follow the messengers. Okay, follow the messengers that have already fantalaga or visited Arsalna or Ja'a, us, the planet, the end time planet, in plague, that is plunged into plague in 2015 in Neskrilik, and they're trying to keep it secret and silent and hatefully ignore that visit of planet Sodom and Egypt by Christ and by Imam Mahdi and by Moses, and have gotten me and my Aliya Akhiyahi brother from Saudi Arabia to sing Al-Fatiha in northern Babelbor, or the northern of the Ashab al-Shamal, or the acidic poison pit, or the Soma sinkhole of Budapest. Yet Buddhic hatred has silenced us and prevented the global village to know about holy visitor of Moses, he and Mahdiyahi and Messiahi, spirits of Allah, that has been paradisiacally paid to, that visit is paid to our temporal plane page in 2015 in July. And so those are the three messengers that I'm saying that you must follow. Follow those that are also mentioned in Zechariah 6, as we read about the horses that are released, the 4 Sabaean winds. And so follow those, and so this silencing that are trying to silence me is actually part of the spirit that is going toward the north, or toward the deep, where the real cause of the cause of the Gentile hatred is coming from, that depths of the Sama'eli poisoning, hallucination, and hypnosis that gets the apes to trip, and they think that they have found that, but they have no idea that, again, the worst type of disease is when you think that you are healthy, but the zombie virus is rapidly multiplying and overtaking your entire mindset. And then you can you will be far away from the hope of repentance. And so follow those Rozahirus who don't ask of you what, any kharjan or any ajran, as we read before, even because Isahi Melchizedek, or the prime priest prince, or Melchizedek, or the Maq'ad al-Sidq, or Biyadeh al-Mulk, Mulk al-Sidq of Allah, or Yadul al-Sidq of Allah, or Mulk al-Sidq, or the Maq'ad al-Sidq, all one Christ the Karimi Mulk of Allah, or the Curious of the Daniel 8:11 came that has made basically all of these things in sunrise, moonrise and moonshines are baqars and uribs of Genesis 1, in him, for him, through him, and yet that is the level of egolessness of the Christ, of my father and my brother's father, that he is not asking any payment even from me, like the ajran that we had in the 1844, because I was about to fall into the sodomy kiss and that kind of thing, or actually I was even that much wicked and lost, going to a gay church, that I was completely prone to that thing, and so even the payment was not asked from me or from the rest of the people, or the Moses is not asking any payment, or Imam Mahdi is not asking any payment. They are not asking for any payment. Like Melchizedek, Abraham was given 10% of the prayers and the expenditure to mulk sidq or maq'ad sidq or yadul sidq of Allah, or that we know him as Isa Messiah, but he's not asking it from us. And so they just came here and said that worship God, worship Allah, and fight with the power-hungry monsters that are trying to get you to think otherwise, and to get you to think that God is a hostile enemy. And then the funny thing is that the demons of the Dami-Demuti domain, or the devils are trying to get to the people to think in that way about their creator. And so they are not getting any payment. They are saying that just give all the 100% of your prayer power and payment all the way up to Allah, lovingly, and so as not any for any prayer payment. Even Isa Messiah is not asking from us for his due 10% payment or expenditure, and is telling us to give it all up to Allah. And they are already what? Guided, or what? Headed, or lighted, or the Mahdi, or Hodust, or Yahudai, Imam of the Yahudai people, the Yahudai Imam, or the Mahodid, or Yahdid, or Ehdanat, or Mayahuda. And so that's where we had the rider on the red horse and the rider on the white horse, as well as the Moses as spirit visiting the earth. And so وَمَا لِيَ لَا أَعْبُدَ الَّذِي فَطَرَنِي وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And why should I not worship he who created or fathered or the fattered or the fitrated or the incited or given me religion or faith, feeded me with faith, fitrat, with fitrat, and that is, again, that is something that satiates or fulfills the unstoppable hunger and brings satisfaction and content, as well as consent for the empty ego, and has feeded me the dry ethos T and T-nat, or the thanatos, with his legacy love light liquor of La ilaha illa Allah. That's the great name of God, and to whom you will be returned. And I'm gonna say in the continuation of the witness or the shahadat that أَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً إِنْ يُرِدْنَ الرَّحْمَنُ بِضُرٍّ لَا تُغْنِ عَنِّي شَفَاعَتُهُمْ شَيْئًا وَلَا يُنْقَذُونَ. And so, should I take other than Him, Holy Self, as false deities, as I was actually doing it in Kundalini Yoga of the Jezebel, while if the most merciful Ar-Rahman justly intends for me, or arada rata, or yuridna, arada ratas for me, some zeroing, bezurren, zeroing adversity. And what is that adversity? To leave me to remain in my zero nest, because we are made from zero, we are the zero form. And then if God removes the la ilaha illallah love light liquor, or refrains the blessings of Him, Holy Self, then I will collapse into my self-weight or vanity. And so that if Allah, if the most merciful wants to refrain me from the mercy and the love, His love, then then that the zero is all that I will be left alone with it. And so because of this part, no one, and the intercession of no one, even if it comes from Isa Messiah, he intercessor of the barren fig tree, that is mercifully Isa has interceded for me to bear fruit, fig fruit, will not avail me at all, nor can they save me. Like basically, if the source of the love and mercy refrains, then who can bring me a speak or Sophia or Shafa'at or the oral healing into my wicked word or vainly drowned word? Because once you realize the Rahman, the Yazdan Rahman, then you know that all of the Shafa'at, all of the Sophia, all of the healing is coming from Rahman. And without Allah's patience and mercy for my astray denial and extremely terrible condition, as well as my Jezebel soulmate's condition, as well as my Aliyah Akhiyahi anger and hurt and the wounds on his warrior heart, the only shafa'at for us, three of us, are coming from Allah. And if Allah refrains, then all of us will flat down fall into bezurr, or zero in English, zur in Arabic or Persian, zarar, we're gonna be from muzarrun. So the losers, the absolutely zeroed ones, because who is more muzarr or in zeroing loss than the one that has lost the love of Allah and has denied that. That's the ultimate level of vanity. And so then I would say إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين, because I grown up in this hellhole or in this filthy, sickening mentality of vegetarian vampires and hollow hippies of the hellhole that are on soma-steroid. Indeed, I, the Babel-born Zerubbabel, with a little bit of Zeru or Zardi, Sapphire, Sephirati, golden grace that is poured into my heart pitcher and my Anahitahi Waifa, who practiced and worshipped and idol ate and pig ate it, the Shaktic filth or the Shikutsi Sagati abomination of Satanama is sad, that was topped with the Ishtari gin juice of Eisht or 8 and Parvatic pig meat of Lahmul Khinzer and Kers Krishna's Kharachi concoction of Buddha medicine mantra in the hellish Kundalini Yoga class of the wicked Jezebel of the Satan, that is actually a homosexual yogi in the priestly clothing in Church of God, and I have been, this is part of my witness and shahadat that I have been a retard, as well as my wife, Anahita, retard victim of this vampire city that is basically has caused us to eat abomination and bring curse upon ourselves, or the blood, and we have been among the zombies that have been worshipping this sodomite scumbag as God, or have been eating the blood of dead Dajjal, or praying this orangutan. And so here I'm saying that, like, both of us, we have done a tremendous amount of mistake by that actually zeroes our heart by going into the kirtans of the polite vampires of the Dracula, and then asking for curse to come to be showered upon us. Then our and so indeed, if I take anyone except Al-Rahman as God, any deity that cannot do any speaking or healing or Sophia to me, and they cannot save me because they don't have any love of their own, then I would be in obvious. This is the Mobina, this is the talking, this is the realization, this is the distinguishing, this is the discernment of ugly and filthy, not through indoctrination but through painful experience. That then I've been in the manifest error. Actually, I put the manifest in red color, not in black, because this is part of the real talk. This is the aesthetic aspect of language, or the genuine legacy language, and that is called understandable error. And so that understandable is ready rozahi, because it shows that at least my consciousness has reached to that level of maturity that it is able to understand what the hell is a zalal, or error, or the Dalai Lama yai zalal, zalal, or kedr, or qadr, or kedr lameri, murkiness, or darkness, or the kirtan crap of the Vedic vampires and Zionist zombies and Palestine occupying pigs of animal farm. And so that's how Zerubbabel just doesn't show up from nowhere. I'm coming out of the woods and talking to the people because I've been, me and my ex-wife, kind of among the vampires and the sagar eating, or shukra, or eating hellions, or the Babeli baboons of the Buddha beast, for about 2.5 until 3 years, until I realized that what the hell we are eating. But again, you have to eat so much that you see that what the hell curse means, and how you're being showered with the zur, or with zeroing, and how much you're hurting Ar-Rahman unthankfully, in order to realize that I have to fall down into repentance. But again, that is part of my confession, or that confession is mobinaing, or understood, that I have understood my guilt, and eating excrement in the kirtans of the Jezebel, and dealing with the zombies, and that's how I know who the hell they are. And that's why, actually, again, that's part of the healing package, because the Zeru, and again, this is a level of the vanity that is not only for the average yogis. Many of the yogis have nothing to do with Christianity. They are just lost. But some of them are so aggressive, are so wicked, that actually do that filth, and then come and talk about the Christ, or like go and participate in Mahishasura Mardini, or wail for the Tammuz of Ezekiel 8, and then they come to the church of Mahishasura or Ravana, and then preach or even touch the Bible. That's the level of the vanity and wickedness that we are dealing. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. And so here is what I'm saying to who? To Khidr, the Christ, the green tree of Tob Tayyib, good, or the tree of life, or tree of beauty, and then to Moses and to Imam Mahdi, or the master of the red horses that came into the northern Babel pit. And so I'm saying to the heavenly, the living ones that are actually listening at this moment, that, oh, Allahumma assembly. Hum of Allah means theirs. It's not plural. Allahum in Middle Eastern languages, all of them, when you put home, like their pen, their table, their son, their baby, okay, it doesn't mean that they are many plural gods, okay. It means that there is something that belongs to them, like we say their, and then we use a noun. And that's how we give ownership of that word that comes afterwards, of that noun that comes afterwards. And so Allahum, or what the people call it as the Hebrew Strong 43, is Elohim or Elohim or Allahum, means their Allah. Allah of who? The ones that I'm actually reciting this one verse toward them right now at this very moment. Inni amantu bi rabbikum fasma'un. Oh ya Isa, oh ya Imam Mahdiya, oh ya Isa, his Sultana or Sultan Mubina, and Imam Mahdiya and Moses. I'm confessing that I only believe in your Rab and your love Lord as the only one love Lord. Again and again. Oh Allahuming assembly of Hezbollah hearts that have followed the Christ and went outside of the exit room and have reached, have born into eternity out of the womb of the afflictions in the temporal landscape, inside the inner courtyard, the ones that are inside the inner courtyard, the ones, please hear me knocking on the Isahi door, Taqat al-Bab, that big banging on the Barzakhi boulder rock, while I should send it out. That is Isaiah 19:20 or 1 Kings 7:13, as we have it for the case of the Hiram, or Isaiah 19:20 is using precisely the same verb, and that is shalak or shalik or shalach or tossed out, or inna radadna asfal as-safin, or radadna, or that comes to English becomes eroded or eroded out, or the tossed out into where? Into the lowest of the lows, that we call it shafal or asfalo shafalin, shafal. And so that is the Babel pit, tower well, in the Tian swamp of tin or clay or the bitumens, and so this sending out, or also Revelation 9, or falling out into time, where we are all, and then talking about going back to the eternity. From where? From your Solomonian scrying ball, or Messiah, or the Medina, that we call it as Saba'uti Misabah, coming from the same root, Sub and Sabah, and Subh Sabai, or the Saba'uti min Sabah, or we call him also as Ruhul Amin, or Amen Mount, or Amen Immune Safe Mount. That any Amanto, indeed I would say Amen to who? To your Allah, and I secure and I ask safety and security from Amen Mount of Sinin, or Zion, or Tur Sinin. Indeed I have believed, Amen Amiyunah, in your love Lord, so listen to me. And so it will be said, قِيلَ ادْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. And then after that Jalik Dadichi, or Duqichi in Persian, or Do in also in English, Do cured pace kills me, or us, the two-horned ramdam of me and my brother, and we are resurrected back to the mortal life after 3 days. And I declare my or Allahi witness, Wallahu ma kuntu qad ashadta basiratan min al-yawm, that we read before in the hadith, Then Barack Obama Dajjal فيقول أقتله, that I kill him again. But and so again, that's how the goat with his long horn strikes me and my brother. But he, the Gotamai goat, cannot reach me. Fala asallat, or solte upon me as, because it will be said from the day door disc of the deen, or the day of the resurrection, the day of judgment. That's another name of Christ, the deen or Adon, the same root. Adon dini disk. And who is the Malik of Adon dini day door disk? The moon shining disk, that is Allah. But who is the Yawm-ad-Din, or the Dini disk, that is moon shining like day, or is the light of the hellhole? That is the Christ. And so I will be said that enter paradise, inshallah. Amana, O Allah of Ruhul Amin. Amen. And so Revelation 11:12, we have it that they heard a great voice from the heaven, as what we heard in 2015, the invitation from the heavenly home, saying unto them, come up here, Amana, and then we will be delivered. He said, I wish my tribal people, whether the pagans or the humans, could know, because the pagans are basically again the victims of the Dracula, and the Muslims also, because if they know, or the Christians or the Zoroastrians or the Yahuda, his soulmates of mine in their Christmas Knesset, or the Ganj of verse 82, or the Ganj Kenz Kenes Kinze in English maybe. I wish my tribal people could know, so that they follow the Christ and go out of the exit door and leave the realm of the ego, and so that we can all unite and celebrate in Salam City the Shekinah presence of Allah and being with our God. And so but again, the thing is that once you reach to heaven, then the people here, they don't hear you in the same way that they don't even hear or see the Christ, the Karimi projector of the mercy, that is sending the mercy, transfusing the mercy of Allah into the lower cosmos. Of how my بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المسلمين ومكرمين. That's when I reach ولا تموتن إلا مسلمين. Of how my Allah, love Lord, how much patiently has forgiven and kept and covered me and placed me among the entering ones to Beit HaKaram, or Beitul Karim, or Beit of Karamat, or the charming Quranic vineyard of charming Karim, charming Christ, or the charming Amplos garden of charming Mukarramian eyes, or the charming ones, or the charming, or charmed, charmed, Karim, the wine, the grapes, or the Christmas hearts, by charming disc that is moon shining like Yom, or like the day that is behind the moon. or the charming Hosanna he break Ajrun Hasana, or the Hashan or Chechen Chesen in Hebrew, or the charming hardcover of the moon book Amana. That is again the book of life. Then we have the healing strike of the earthquake, or the Sayhat, after that, and after of what we read in Revelation 11:19 and 19:11, and the opening of the Christ Tekarimi, Kabe, Kiyub, Kibotos, or the Medina door, or the Islam Christian heart balloons, and inshallah, after honey highway of truthful tears is poured from Mahisha's Syrian Caucasus upon the Egypt air and exiled. And this is where you have to pay attention, that we are exiled. We are not here to, we are not in a Caribbean luxury cruise or something. If the Egypt and the god of the Egypt, the gay god of the Egypt and Sodom, and its Egyptian, or wonder working, working scientists and scapegoats are getting you to feel that you are in a luxury hotel, and have stolen the pain of feeling that you are in exile and the pain of long distance relationship, then it means that you are compromised. It's poured from hopefully this double conic, bidirectional double conic tunerological model of consciousness, this highway is a top highway. The upstream is for the Sufi Salmons that want to go out, and they are the ones that are gonna strap bombs to themselves, fund a bunch of Merkaba tanks of Israelis or American army, or the Turkish army, or Saudi Arabian army of the Antichrist, and then attack to them, and then would blow them up, inshallah, because the savages, it is very hard for the savages to get close even to these technologically advanced apes that are talking and using the language of the humans, and so that is for the upstream. And at the same time we have the lightning and then the moon shining signals downward into a reality, and that's how inshallah we will have a first-hand alien contact of our reality and membrane, as we read in the book of Revelation chapter 11 verse 19, or chapter 19 verse 11, of opening of انشق القمر واقترب الساعة. And so the door, if you have seen the movie of the Antichrist, the movie that Hollywood and Bollywood of the Antichrist has made, the Lord of the Rings, the opening of the heavy door, or the heavy moon book, or the heavy hardcover of the book of life, from which the demons are not coming out. Actually, the angels of the Christ are coming out, and the 144,000 of the first resurrection, in order to terminate the ghosts and the filthy wonder worker ajib makers of the Egypt, that show themselves, masquerade themselves in white funky apparel. Again, everything in this world is upside down. then that will be Inshaq al-Qamar, that we will look from, we will read closely and scrutinize every single part of it. And so the highway and the track or the tariqat will be opened, inshallah, and then from there we will have a huge amount of the exiled or the rained down or the prisoned droplets or the soul droplets of the Euphrates, the people in this Hamona, Adama, Zamuna, Zamana, Zamuni, Homini, Hominoidi, Hamona, or the desert of the end time of the Apushtiv, that will go out and evacuate as part of the 200 million people that are going to, inshallah, be martyred or killed or burst into Eden. And then we will have Earth or the Egypt. That's the first phase of the rapture, and then the rest will come upon the earth that is has passed the first two phases, both phases of the rapture. We will talk about that. But again, the first phase is for the best of the Christian and Muslim and Zoroastrian and Yahudahi warriors that are going to evacuate earth as soon as possible and go after our king or Christ or Mahisha Syria or the cow Bagare. Islamo-Christian hard balance will start the rapture party by military attack to Hindu Israel of this sodomite Budapest. Inshallah, upon this Rozahi red carpet, with Imam Mahdi, commander of his army, and then upon this Rozahi red culture or bi-directional highway of blood brisa of Christ the Karim and his Hamas Hezbollah heart balloons, again that is both directional, our cow king will step down and will put his blessed fire foot along with his Imam Mahdi, commander of his angelic army of 144,000 pomegranate juices in golden cups or the mini UFOs, and then he will finish off the bid of 144,000 diamonds, and then he will finish off this Barack Hussein Obama and her American, Israeli, Chinese, Saudi, Russian armies of slave soldiers, magicians, ayahuasca shamans, drum circling hippies, that from all of the psychedelic drum circles around the world, from the China all the way to Amazon jungle, not the other Amazon jungle on the surface of the earth, that are all going to go to war with God. Amana. Let us read my Medadi part of the revelation in another Hadithi narration that I would call Book of Revelation in one page. And so Sunan ibn Majah, or the volume 1, book 36, talks about this part, that this is the part that is related to the death of the two witnesses, or Dabbatul Ars, or the breaking of the rosary with 10 beads as the 10 major signs of the hour of the wrath of Creator, that will start by my death. Then he, this filthy Dadichi Dajjal of Joliases or Goliases, coming from the same root of Jali of the salt water, will call a Medadi man burning with youth, 35, 36 years old, and will strike me with a sword, and that is the goatish horn of Daniel 8:7, or the goatish Gogian prick of the Satan's vagina that is mentioned in Hadith of Najd. What a scarlet beast or the Baal dildo is putting inside the Chinese god of the Shitian Chinese god of the Taoist monsters and the Zen zombies, and cut him into two separated pieces by throwing her Hanumani Vajra Gors or Gada Godahi God particle at me, or the yellow ramdam, the Yalyam ramdam, as his target, and breaks my Sheshateke, or the 6 pieces hexagram apart. Then he, Hanuman, will call me, that is completely demolished into Alpha Omega, dead realm, will stitch or resurrect me back, and he, the bell of the Jezebel, and I will come out of the pottery pit after 3.5 days of Revelation 11:11, with his face shining, or Hallelujah Wallahing, do to shine shaloming shower of salam spirit that is being poured and Euphrates from top Tarshishi tablet disk of Shamsul Haq Khakak Hukhta Haqiyos Tabriziya Ad Isahi Enda of Tartanal. And so that is the reason that I'm going to be shining again. That is a little bit of golden grace from God that will help the people to just run into the highway. Inshallah, we will maximize the number of the people that will be delivered and escape, and these are the ones that will be killed in this world or burst into the other world. You can look at it both ways. Laughing to enter the paradise, or adkhal al-jannat, that is mentioned here, khul al-jannat. And since imagine if you are told that enter to heaven, especially after 4 or 5 years of extreme drought and thirst of not eating any halal manna, or without manna lessly walking in the desert of the Dracula, come up here to the land of Salsabili, water of life, inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. While they are like that for 40 days, and we will explain these 40 days, and so while they are like that, like what, after my death, while they are like that for 40 days, and these 40 days, to just to give you a heads up, is it is about the 70 weeks after Daniel, I think 9, and so these 40 days will be explained. Allah will order or command or dabbara to mudabbir or to Dabir or the Dabiri desktop command center oracle of where the four seraphimi Israfils as well as the 24 elders are, to inhale and restore and build and recover or catch or kasha or yaksha in kasha in Hebrew, to catch up, catch in English, or yaksha, kasha, kashaya in Arabic, or the foliage of the tree of life. That is you, if you are a Muslim and Christian or a Zoroastrian or a Yahudahi brother and sister, then your basically your life story is a page from the book of life that is fallen into time. And if you have been able to manage to remain as a people of Allah, or the people that are dwelling in messianic religion of Allah, then we are going to see, inshallah, everybody will share his or her life story in Eden, because in these days of trials and mass distribution of the mark of the beast, or the orangutans that are basically victimized by receiving the Jian Mudra mark of the beast or sitting in meditation, and the psychedelic, they call it psychocalypse, or the apocalyptical distribution of the psychedelics around the planetary population, because it is very cheap, and that is all the Beelzebub needs to poison and pollinate you, and then you receive the mark of the beast on your head. That is basically opening your third eye to hellhole. And so if you have been able, or if Allah's providence has been to mercifully safeguard you, that's where Allah has rahmanfully or rahimfully containing you in the rahim, in the womb, in the bosom, and protected you from being raped or attacked by the Devi devils of the Ziaus, Divus, Dayus, Devi, Divi, Pita. Then you have been safeguarded from Zur, and so then you will have an amazing life story, and very faithful, because you've been putting on the garment of the faith. And so that's why the tree of life is going to be recovered by the pages of life stories, the papers of your life story, your neighbor's life story, that have been by the mercy of God able to not do any of these end time abominations, and you are one of the lucky ones that have been able to manage to cross the minefield without stepping on a mine and blowing yourself up like me, and then losing all of your body members and your everything that you have in an experiential way. And so you follow the Bible and the Holy Quran, and you have not received the plagues of the Babel, and that is the perfect. And so that is how you're going to be the covers or the pages of the book of life that they are going to is yaksha sidratama yaksha. And who is the sidr or the tall, super tall cedar tree? That is another name of the tree of life. And so in 3 layers that we read in First Kings 7, First Kings 7, or we also call it as when the morning inhale. And what is the name of the morning? Sabaoth, or the angelic army, or Sabah. And so when the Sabah restores or inhales or the rebuilds. And so to redo it again, with his face shining and laughing, while they are like that for 40 days, which means 70 weeks of the weeks that we are calculating, the 70 weeks of the book of Daniel, I think Daniel 9, and that are also mentioned in this hadith, and so while they are like that, Allah will order to the rock to be cut off, and at the same time to inhale or restore and recover the Salam city or the Medina. That's how the city will be built in Daniel 9:25, the Revelation 11:15. Or Holy Quran, the tree of life will recover its fig foliage, or as we will look later on in the book of Ezekiel 30-39, the desolate city that is now empty of its population because they are all exiled and poured out or shalak or salakhed out into the time, they will go back to the rendezvous with God, and then the judgment day will be set up. The Salam city, that will be commenced by sounding of the 7th trumpet. Revelation 11:15, that after 40 days, the 70 weeks of Daniel 9:25 will result in first resurrection after these 70 weeks. And so this is the first ba'as, or the resurrection or sending of Isa, his son of Mother Maryam, and shaqqa al-qamar, and the moon book will break, and then the Christ Kaaba Kibotos will open up of Revelation 11:19, or the first part of the moon book is overarching, or the second part is mentioned in Zechariah 14:4. The first part is the opening of Revelation 19:1, or also 19:11 or 11:19. They're talking about the same thing. Opening of Medina, or the city from which me and my Ali Akhia, his brother in Saudi Arabia, we have come here. And so opening of the Christ the Karimi coffin, ark, kibotos, cube, Kaaba of Surah 5 verse 95. Not the Kaaba that we see here, the real Kaaba. This Kaaba is just a casted shadow of that Kaaba in the realm of the meaning, not in the realm of shadow where we are now. And so who will come down to high horizon of this world, and that's where basically the Inshaq al-Qamar, or overarching will happen. And so وَخَسَفَ الْقَمَرَ وَجَمَعَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ will happen, and then the lunar alignment will happen of Allah his son, and then Isa he at his Katuzi, or Christ at his Katuzi throne, lower Jasper, Jaspis, Izad Yazotoi Yastona, and then Yazdan Rahman, Yasin Yasna, Izad Yazdan Rahman, at his Allahi face, and then the sun and the moon, and then the straight path will be done, completed, and then from there the straight street or the straight path will cast or beacon into the night, cold night, and then that is where the Chinut Pretum bridge or the mouth of the Christ comes, the tongue, to beat the hell out of these Pentagon and NATO and UN makers, and will pulverize, inshallah, all of their monkey business. The monkey business will be over. God will take over, inshallah. That's where the mercy comes, although it will be frightening for many of us. Who will come down to high horizon of this, and we will talk about the high horizon too. And so this high horizon has nothing to do with this world, okay? Again, this world, this bubble is going to be popped. The Christ is too big for this narrow thing to come down, okay? Christ is gonna pop it up, and that's where the Armageddon starts. And at the white minaret in the east of Damascus that is under attack by Hindu Israel of homosexual Buddhist President Barack Obama. Or so that's how we can say that this Damascus or the Damashq will basically be under that high horizon. Now you can look at it both ways, that again in the head collision you can look at it both ways, and from there the Assyrian Mahisha, Syrian city of Imam Mahdi Isahi headlight Hodos headway will attack to occupied Palestine, and then now we'll see that whether the tanks of the Ajib makers or Egyptus makers or the scientists that have made the tech toys of the army of the Putin and Barack Obama and Xi Jinping can stand in front of the army of God or not. Just as Babylonian, the great city or the Kundalini Canyon of Kani, which means mineral, or the dried sediments, or the Taoist trench of Trishula Shiuli Trinity, is by the ritual city in metaphysical dimension of Egyptian Nataf. Medina is also a spiritual is also in a spiritual dimension. They are both abstract cities of ugliness and ultimate beauty in Mujordan or Jordan or Mujarradati realm. That is why Isa, his savior of Isaiah 19:90-22, Israel, the savior, or the Medadi ink from Medina he mount, is an evangelic carrier of the gospel good news, not only for the Islamo-Christian people of Scripture, but also for those Native American tribes of 1893 with different speech from the rest of the continents, that instead of making ethnosi and skull temples or sun dancing and gay priding, that's why I'm talking about those population, Native American populations that are still remained in that side of the shamanism, are mourning for loss of their culture of Shekinah shamanism by Christian colonialism of the Buddhist. that is now selling gay marriage in false churches of Satan. And so that even they are going to be celebrated. Again, we have the people of Christ, or the people of the bee, honey bee, all around in all continents. Similar to brave Palestinians who threw Allahu Akbar in water word from Ravana River of Love Life at drones and Merkaba tanks and chopper like locusts and F-22 Raptors, F-18 Hornets, and snipers of Uful Efaliani, avatar of homosexual Israel, whose Washington monument Shiva Lingam is producing Shaktic sex toys and lesbian feminism. There were brave Native American tribes that were throwing axes at cowboys behind firing Gatling cannons. Kind of the same analogy, the same similarity of uprising and rebellion against absolute tyranny of the King Kong of the planet ape, that does not only send police forces upon you, the same people that some people are, some deluded people are actually protesting against the oil pipelines in Northern America. But if you intensify your protest or your rebellion, they don't only send cops upon you, they will send army upon you, just like what they are doing to the Palestinians. For these pigs, the humans or the animals of the farm are not a big deal. We are just like a joke for these yogi monsters or these heavy gurus of the Hinduism. Again, the host civilizations of this virus have no idea what the hell they have let into their system, and why God is bringing judgment upon us, because the Samadhi psychopaths are the sickest monsters of entire history. Anytime these wicked weeds have grown in the backyard, they have basically used whatever plant is in the backyard parasitically, and so that's why when this disease falls, the only thing that you can do is to burn the entire yard and rebuild a new one. And so medicine mushroom masters of some of these tribes with Salemi souls were honorable apostles of Maliki, Cow Christ King, or Malik al-Moti, Cow Christ King of the underworld, as well as the King of the Death. Long before official Christianity comes into the continent between the two dams of Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Master Black Elk, or Hehakasapa, was not a scriptural scholar. Nonetheless, in his last visionary journey to Salam City, or Holy Hoop of Hallelujah Hearts, or the Rakiya, that's where the Holy Hope, or the Shamaimi that is in Galgal or Gilgal or Teltel or Soso or Qala Qala, or the Galamos or the pen, who are separated by Allah's date or disk of Ruhi resurrection from reincarnationist reptiles and hairy hellions and mokshad monkeys and gene-injected Gentiles of Quetzalcoatl, as well as Quetzalcoatl. He prophesizes about Medadi measure of Bismillahi Biblallah, or Habib the carpenter, or the two witnesses of Book of Revelation or of Holy Quran. In part of the prophecy of the Black Elk that has been giving his visionary diary, it is full of heavenly hope for straight humans of his Tarshish written tribe. Christian Black Elk says about their eternal marriage with Isahi, eye of Ahura Mazdahi, Allah, that his people, after long years of destitution and death under the tyrannical supremacy of the Yogi Gurus and Durga the Dragonic statue of liberty, lady, and long years of being threaded under the Vishwarupai feet of Shakyamuni master race of Shaktic Siddhartha shaft, and long years of cultural colonialism that hypocritical sponsors of its residential schools are now running the gay churches of Satan, would lose the holy heart and the sacred hoop, or the Hallelujah Wallahin Raqiya Raq Manshur, or the swirling pen, or the heavenly firmament of his lowest nation would be broken, and thus dressed in feather clothes of their martyred warriors, they would turn into ruthless chimpanzees who are now cowardly dancing in gay parade prides of swastika, son of Teotihuacan pyramid, and we know that these are actually the enemy, the shamans of the enemy, the adversary in their own continent, and they had actually fight and struggle with this race of the shamans, and actually they have completely eradicated whatever is left from the race of the Black Elk. Actually, the ones that have colonized later on this continent, they are from this type of this race, with no dignity and honoring of their past elders and Zulqarnaini mushroom masters. They would shake hands with God of those Magog tribes and corrupt clans of Yajuj and Majuj Mufsidin fil Arz, of Tiahuanaco, gate of Mitra Surya, here in the continent between the two Atlantic and Pacific dam, or the oceans, that they used to fight and resist. But after 7 generations, while he was lifted by Mahishasurahi Herre above Galilee Garden, in the same way that Ezekiel not for luck was taken up, or his ceiling side, or the Zel, he saw a Yeriko Rochahi vision of his nation. And again, you don't see the vision. These visions only come when you have eaten mushroom. Being reunited and becoming part of the greater, this great is Kabar river, or the Kabar hoop that we read in Ezekiel 10. Or the greater Allahu Akbaring hoop of all Islam, Christian, or Zoroastrian and Yahudahi nations, and lowest ethnoses of the oppressed earth. Inshallah. At that time, a wise Medadi man from Revelation 11 of Medina, Mumbuk, or Hallelujah Wallahi Hub, from the Israel fighting Middle East, would bring a message of hope. What is that message? That message is that, guys, Christ came and died for us so that we can have a hope. What is the hope? That there is an exit door from this hell. If they have made a suitable environment for you that you lay down and then have fun, then it means that you are not in the pain of travailing, and that pain is the pain of the Micah chapter 4 verse 10, if you are not in the pain of being in long distance relationship with your beloved, that you are not in love. You are maybe, I don't know, sleeping around with someone or something. And so you don't deserve that. You ruin the long distance relationship. But if you are in the pain, then there is this man, the Zoroastrian Magi, like the other three Persian Magi's, like the Daniel 8 verse 20, from the Persia that is coming. And again, my prophecy is not Persian, is not Muslim, is not Christian. When we are talking about Allah and Christ, we are talking about creation. Okay, it is about beyond. It is about love and beauty against this cursed Krishna crap and ugliness and filthiness and vegetarian vampirism and Kundalini yoga and hot yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Bungi yoga, Bangu bunga, whatever, all the garbage monsters that are yoking or dangling from the Zaqqum tree or the tree of the bottom of the hell. Okay, and so there is a man that is coming, a mushroom man, again and the vision or the harbinger of the hour. وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ قَالَ. Here is this man is mentioned. Who is this man? Holy Quran chapter 36 verse 20. وَيَسْعَى قَالَ يَا قَوْمَ اتَّبَعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ. This is the man that is coming. وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلًا. That is the rajul, that the black elk, the Native American Canadian shaman has seen on his mushroom vision in Holy Quran. And that Habib the Harbinger is coming and saying that there is a hope still. Although they are giving you alcohol, most of your kids are drumming on psychedelics in the woods and have received the mark of the Buddha, Budani, Barack Hussein Obama, the Antichrist, and many of you are smoking marijuana or weed or alcohol, and they have completely, because the people here didn't know what the hell is alcohol. Before these orangutans come from Europe and then bring their atrocities, there were the nations that were peacefully living with the nature of Allah, and some, not all of them, there were monstrous shamans here. Again, we look at them, that were in touch with Zulqarnain, with Christ in the underworld, but without the print, with oral traditions, and then the real Eucrates, the same Eucrates that the people have had in the main Euro-Afrasia continent. And so this man is coming to bring the message of, what is the message of the hope? The message of the hope is that there is a highway of Isaiah 19 verse 23. And if you are one of the oppressed people of the native people in America, don't, or in Canada, don't fight oil pipeline. Don't be so much narrowed. If your elders are drumming over there, they don't know anything. They are garbage elders. We have plenty of garbage elders. You are fighting with a system that doesn't hesitate to use jet fighters to bomb the hell out of the people. If they're sending cops upon you, if you intensify your flame, they will come 10,000 times higher. Than they will bring not only tanks upon you, they will do what they have done to the completely legal and legitimate government of President Bashar al-Assad. That's the level that these evil, monstrous Hindu colonialism of the Dracula is devouring the entire earth. And so a message of hope is that you wanna resist that. You don't fight here. You evacuate the earth, as we read. Christ says, I have spread you like the four in Zechariah 2, verse 6 and 7. Come out of her, my people, or escape the daughter Zion. In order to escape the daughter Zion, the best place for you is to join the Armageddon and Malhameh and the IRGC and the Hezbollah forces. Poke the head of the octopi. Don't fight with the wings of this octopi, because this Vishwarupai image has thousands of hands and octopi basically decoys. And so the only way is to go toward the center of it, and the center of it is where the White House that make the Keystone pipelines of that you have a problem with it, although again the entire Pacific Ocean is polluted with the nuclear waste of Japanese nuclear reactor that has the nuclear meltdown. They have moved their penis, the embassy of the penis of the Satan, or the penis inside the vagina of the Satan, or Barack Obama's penis, or Washington Monument, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And so the system that you are fighting, it has already put your race in front of the Gatling cannon and finished you off, and given alcohol and a little bit of meditation and yoga and the drumming on the feathers that you have no idea where the hell that culture is coming from to you here. But that system has a much bigger purpose, and that purpose is to completely finish the Islamo-Christian resistance of the Middle East, and then go to war with the Christ of your God, and then even to go after your God. That's the level of the Hindu sickness of these Taoist Gentiles. Again, and so if you want to do something, it is time for you that come out of it, because you are spread in like the four wings on the earth. And in order to do that, you can become united for attacking to that place. And if they kill you, again, thumbs up. If they didn't and you kill them, thumbs up. Kill the next. Kill as much as that you can until you reach to their capital, which is actually the capital of the people of the holy hoop and the sacred hoop. And that sacred hoop is not the hoop of the primates of Teotihuacan pyramid, or the monsters that of the swastika sun in where is it, in some of the skull temples, in many places that they have been doing their own massacres here, or the Tiwanaku, or all of those places, the sun dancing race, not the other ones. And so if you want to do something, then that's the best way of coming from the feet of the Vishwarupa. And that is the hope of Daniel 2:34-35, that is about trumpet cutting off and the coming of the rocky Caucasus, or our collision with the dimension in which the Zulqarnain that has been in touch with your elders, with your medicine elders, is going to is residing in that dimension, that will crush the Vishwarupai image of communist military industrial complex of queer Krishna scratch of Taoist Gentiles, and will bring salami peace. Okay, that's what the Black Elk has seen, to all people who are going to eternally embark in Messianic Mount or Mumbuki, Salam City, or Noahi, Arka, or Hozan, Cheseni, Hoop, or Hosnai Hoop, that is Tosif, Safan, Safa, Safayeri, Wasf, and characterize, or word, or says, or so of Marina Sabina, or talawat, or tell, or proclaim, or claim, or kalamat, or kalamos, or qal, or gilgal, or gal, or hooping, or swirling, or halal Yahuwallahing around Allah, who is measured in this witness. There is no such thing as global warming, or gravity, or heliocentric orbit of Earth around Sun. The real reason behind exponential rise of the climate change on the planet ape of the Buddhist is that I am here. Amir Samuel Bozorg Mehri Dabbatul Ars is here, and along with his Ali Bukharahi brother in Bismillahi Blada, they are asking through olive delating, or rigging, or roganing Solomonian staff of Moses from Allah to mercifully give us signs for repentance, because Obama is also here, or Obama, or the one who he is with us. It is Allah's Christ Karimi Cowpeter, or his fire color sabaq Bahing thumb finger, or isba, or the thumb finger of God, or the fire finger, or the lily, the firing lily lens, that is raising the dust, or the natfa, or the nasiyat, the nexus, or the firmamental field and cylinder of the string theories, spaghetti sperms, and that rising of the dust of the Adama, or the field, is what we have read in Asura 100, verse 3 and 4. The real reason behind exponential rise of the climate change is that we are so close, less than 42 months, to the Aurahi epicenter of history, and that epicenter is the purpose of the history, and that is missing in the model of the Gentile junks, and that is resurrection and judgment of history, who is called what? Haqqaniyat, or Al-Haqq, or Hagios, or Hukhta, or Khakak, Hukhta, or Khakat. And that it means word, the true word, the truthful word of Asura 69, or Revelation 19:12. That's the name of Christ. The 69th Asura of Holy Quran is named after one of the most sacred names of Christ, or the owner of the reality, and that is truth. Holy word, that is the truth. The truth is the word of Allah, not what we guess and assume. It is Christ Karimi Cowpeter who has received Innahu la ilmu sa'at. Indeed, Christ Karimi Cowpeter is for receiving the USB flash drive of the 7-seed scroll from Allahi operator of that computer, and has unzipped it and is executing the system reset due to tremendous amount of Buddhist bug, baboonish brutality, jealousy junk, LGBT lie, DMT demolition, homosexual plague, and Yugi yeast, that as the rotten result of the psychedelic psychocalypse of the zombie apocalypse have been spread like wicked virus of the Vishnuic vampires and the Zen zombies and Magogi mutants on an earthly system that once upon a time was at Ruhi rest, as Imam Mahdi and his soldiers were halaqing or halqing or ringing and scanning or going to and fro through the earth and checking and patrolling, and that was at rest at that time. But earth is full with injustice and lies, and is sucking the UN lollipop of that jolly Durga dragon, and that is why God's wrath is warming up. God's wrath is warming up due to Israeli brutality of Budapest and Taoist poking of the Palestinian apple of God's eye that cannot even through a savage axe like good old Native Americans and terrorist warriors at Israeli soldiers of Iron Dome defense system of so much brave new world of Buddhistic poisoner. Again, like the natives and the war that the natives had with the first cowboys that were brutally massacring them, that war was at least equal. You were throwing an axe on a person that 200 meters from you is sitting behind the Gatling cannon. That is much more fair and equal war than a person that is throwing a stone, not even an axe, or shouting at an F-18 or F-16 in on the air, or a drone, if they can even see it, depending on how high is it, or at a cruise missile that is fired from 2,000 kilometers away. The distance of 200 meters is now 2,000 kilometers, and then the firepower of that savage that does not accept this Buddha Abudan is a stone this much, maybe this much, as big as you can put it in the slingshot and then throw it. That's it. Or making incendiary kites. That's a joke, okay? And what's the firepower at the other side? That is the level of inequality, and at the same time, these monstrous sodomites talking about equality of their gender, transgenderized, demolished, damaged sodomites, sadamad, filthy souls. Let alone they cannot come out of their genitalias, let alone to see why the verse is warming up and how they can fight for the dignity of humanity instead of fighting to receive more hormonal injections and condoms to wear. Or sex dildos to buy from the sex toys of the Western feminism. Cannot even throw a savage axe, that was for good old times, at Israeli soldiers of Iron Dome defense system of so much brave new world. Again and again we see throughout the Salvi scripture, and I have seen it, witness in the real Garden Gorge or the Valley Wine Press of Allah, that Hindu goats of Hari Helios are destroying the earthly system of Revelation 11:18. That's why earth, all of the life forms in earth are ashamed of being in a planet that is basically full of monstrous shamans and magicians, or the tech giants, and Egyptos or Ajaib, which means Egypt, or the wonder workers. And those wonders are making asphalt, making oil refineries, making genetically modified food, depressing the mass psyche of the planet with 2 world wars, and then giving them the emancipating drug, or the pollination drug, that is the LSD. All right, how about you're depressed? How about going to hell? Or administering that piece of, that urinated death and eternal curse to the cancerous people in John Hopkins universities, or in American and Canadian psychiatrists societies that are reading Jungian and Freudian psychology, instead of giving them Bible in their deathbed, or actually reciting Holy Quran at their deathbed. Priests are turned to gays, and then again, that's why the earth is destroyed. And once our species is destroyed, then you can see the symptom in the rest of the the system, the other loops and the pulleys in the system that are interconnected to us. One of our psyche, our species has failed its purpose, and we have turned into anger menui, angel, or the parasitic system. Then all of the ecosystems will mirror what is in us. Again, at this level, the only thing that is getting everything to stick to each other is just the mercy of Allah, and that there is a certain time that Allah has considered for terminating us. Otherwise, even the angels, and then the Christ, and Imam Mahdi, and everybody wants to finish, but only Allah is holding, and that because of the certain planning. And so are destroying the earth with word choking silence meditation. Here we go. This is a big just abomination sitting right here, and with Hallelujah Wallahi, hoop breaking violence and khamashing, and that is where the 25 elders that are worshipping the antelope, or antelos, or matla, or shams, or antelo, or Tulu, or the Heliosi Tulu, or the sunrise from the east of the Taoist monsters. These heliocentric viruses of Harry Helios are following her 25 Shakyamuni masters. We have it also in Ezekiel 11. May God destroy them with the funky God. That instead of prostrating toward the Logesi Heikel, or the Hekel, or the Turturi Temple, or Sabil of Allah, or the Christ, that is Christ, they are sun dancing and Surya Namaskaraing and Utu Shamash salaming towards sun icon, or the solar image, or even sun gazing at the solar image of Barack Hussein Obama, Budapest, of humming, or heated, or enlightened, or finished wine press of dark mud, or the solar paste spring. And so as we had it in many slides before, The third an'am, or the animals or the beasts of the creeping creatures, are actually the crawling cobras underneath the BDCTN model. We have already had a true profile of them. We call them Zafir or the Zofar or the Al-Ma'az or the goats, or the baboonish pigs scratching moles, psyche digging khazir or khanzirs of Sadu Sidim Sawadi Sadu Sade Vali. Here we look at the lowest level of the devilish dwelling of Durga dragon, that is known as Dark Durga Duruj Darakol Asval, or Drag Dragari Darakan Ani Ashfala Asfal, the lowest of the under Indra, that belongs not to Hindus, not to yogis, not to Taoists, but to the worst of the creation, or like a homo sharrul bayana. And who are the worst of the creation? They are known as the hypocrites. They are the Muslims and Christians and Zoroastrians and Yahudais. They are the people of the book. They are the people of the Christ, people of the moon book, Ahlul Kitab, who hide their witness, Katama Shahadat, or give false slander or denial or lie against Allah, or says a lie against Allah. It is in this lowest and treacherous circle of under Indrai Inferno that we are dealing with Magogi network, Shabake, of those Talmudic elegy, homosexual priests, and holy looking hypocrites that killed the blessed bodies of Christ the Karimi, Tariq, Tariqat, Tarak in Hebrew, English, Arabic, Persian, and his Imam Hussein ibn Aliyahi Fadiyya, or Pathos, or Bezebhan Azim, Fadainahu Bezebhan Azim of Genesis 22:13. And so this is the lowest level of this creeping and crawling. Again, they are the ships in the wolves in the sheep clothing, and they hold Bible in their hand, but again, or the Holy Quran, but again, they are talking about peace deal of century with the octopi.